Well, it's that time, guys. We're going to get hooked onto the corn planter, and we're going to try and get our little bit of corn in the ground. We've got 5 acres of custom work and a couple acres for ourselves, and then another little project that you'll see later in this video. But step one of a 7000 series tractor is getting the 3-point hitch down. This tractor does get used on its 3-point hitch a fair amount, but the hitches still get tight in the rock shaft. So it takes a little bit of extra weight, 250 pounds of weight actually, to get those down. We'll get hooked on, get our hydraulics hooked up, get this out. We got to blow air through all of our lines and get any of the blockages out of our fertilizer lines, get unfolded, get some corn in her. Yes, I know that would be easier with a 3-point hitch quick attach, but there's a reason we don't use that. I've gone through it before. Our tractor just isn't built for it. So we're all hooked up. We got to hook our electrical up for our monitor. We got to back up. Our 3-point hitch extends out, so that should sit in there. So we just got to let a little bit of slack out of it. Now, back up easy, and those will lock into place. We can pick it up, take our kickstand feet out, and pull this out of here. So I'm doing this a little bit out of order. I normally load a planter in the yard before I go planting, but we're only doing like 7 acres total this year, which seems silly to drag this big machine out for that, but the reason we're doing it is just to keep the planter greased up and me practiced. But what we're doing is a little bit backwards. I don't normally load the planter in the yard before we go plant, but everything's here, the fertilizer, the seed, so it's just easier to put most of our stuff in the planter here rather than take it all with us and have to come back. And it's another trip. So we're planting pride corn. We've got 2 units from last year left over of 71.97. And this year we're growing 75.99. So I'm not worried about mixing the hybrids. It's just a little bit of timing. We're going to put a few bags in, and you can see we're not even filling the row units up completely, because it is more work to clean them all back out again. And I will take some seed with me when we leave. but I do find this Pride corn dries down really good. It's got really good genetics with it. So we grow a lot of Pride corn. So we're gonna take 3 bags with us. We're gonna bring the skid steer over, and we're gonna put our tote of fertilizer in our tank and get that ready, and then we'll go plant some corn, guys. So we're doing this not the logical way. So we've got our power band fertilizer, our 1813 and 2 sulfur on the backhoe right now. We're just running it into the top of our tanks. The reason for this, we've only got 1 tote. This is all we're using. We're only using 150 gallons. So we use 1, 2, and 3. The 4th tank over there runs our in-furrow, so we're not using that this year. So we've just got this held up here, and we're gravity feeding from 1 tank into the other 3. So as that's working on it, we got to go in and get our talc graphite mix. And what this is, it's called Seed Coat from Delta Ag. It is talc, graphite, and micronutrients all blended in one. So we normally use a talc graphite mix. This is a benefit to us just because of the micronutrients in it. So what we do, just take a little cup and we just put on kind of a generous amount, but not too much. It's definitely more of an art form than a science, just because there is no right answer of how much you need. So we'll go ahead and do that as our fertilizer transfers over and use that. But if you guys are looking for a talc graphite mix, so the micronutrients are sulfur, 2% magnesium, 2% zinc in it, and then dry for magnesium sulfite and zinc sulfite. So really good blend of your micronutrients in there. Get this corn crop off to a great start. We can use this on any crop. We've used it on our canola before, so it's an all-around good product in there. We do use one every now and then that has microbiology in it as well, so we'll see that probably next year. We're going to try and use that again and see if we make it. So we're in our first field of corn. We've got to take the safeties out of our planter and then get it unfolded. So we'll go through that. I'll walk you through that when we get the safeties off and start unfolding. So I'm going to set you guys up through the dirty window. We've got our safeties out. Now we got to put our planter on the ground with its hydraulics and its 3-point hitch. We got to get out, and we've got to pull the safeties out of our wheels on the wings. We've got the safeties out. Make sure our markers are off. And now we can start to lift our planter. All of our wheels will lift now. Then we fold it. Bring it in. We gotta get the slack out of our slack in our pin. Now we go through the process of unfolding. folded, we can turn our vacuum on. We got our dust and our extra talc caliper. We're going to tiptoe over to the edge of the field where we're going to start. I've learned my lesson. I never start right at the road for the first time of the year. It always seems to go poorly for me. So we've almost got our 5 acres of custom work in, and we're using our Ag Express monitor. And the nice thing about this corn planter, we put flow meters on it. So you can see we've got the red ball manifold right to your left of my vacuum gauge. And those red balls do a really good job of telling you if you've got fertilizer flowing or not, but they don't tell you how much fertilizer. You set your orifices to match your ground speed and on, and that's basically how you determine your fertilizer rate. But we learned our first year we used this planter with that system that they are a very inaccurate way of measuring fertilizer. So there you can see we're running slow. So we're putting on 17 gallons. But yet my red balls, it's hard to see, they're in the middle of their column where they're supposed to be. So I know I'm putting fertilizer on. I don't know how much. There we've picked up our ground speed. Now we're down to 16 gallons. Sometimes that'll dip into the 15 gallon mark. And our red balls are in the exact same spot. So that's how we learned our inaccuracy when we differed a little bit of ground speed. So using this, we can monitor 8 rows of seed on the top and 8 rows of liquid fertilizer on the bottom, and then it gives us our average seed count and flow rate. And then if we've got any skips or doubles, they go yellow like 3 and 4 did there. It's not a great system, but it is our system. And then this planter has half-width disconnects. Maybe. Normally that disconnect should have shut the right side of the planter off when we come into our overlap there, but for some reason the row units didn't respond to it, so our clutch could be seized up. So we'll have a look at that. It's not a big deal. We only overlapped 200 feet worth. But yeah, so this is how we plant our corn. We still use our markers occasionally when we get into kind of funny shapes. I haven't got the GPS set up to do it the proper way. I know I could, but I find this works just as well. Then we'll come back in here and clean up our gore. These lake bank farms are all kind of a funny shape because you got to farm along the lake bank, so you're ducking in and out all the time. So it's not an exact way to finish a field. It's not a nice square field like we have on the other side of the road, but it works. And this farm's a decent size. It's plants 4.8 acres. It's a 5-acre farm by the time you're done screwing around with everything. So nice little farm, but it's decent dirt. And here we're a little bit wide on both sides, so we're just going to split the difference with a weird guess row on each side, and we're going to call that finished. So now we got to go home, and we've got to plant our own couple acres of corn, and then we'll be done with this planter. So we've got all of our corn acres done. Now what we're going to work on beside our neighbor here, we always park a lot of our tillage equipment. So what we're going to do for them is we're going to plant 4 rows of sunflowers. But to do that, we're going to take all of our corn out of our row units that we had. And these 7200s, the bin is marked on that bottom corner for pour here. And if you shake the row unit a little bit, all the corn will come out of the seed plate. So, this is one of our seed plates here. And this is the back side of it. So if we take that off, each hole, and I believe these are 32 hole plates, each hole will pull a vacuum, so we vacuum from the other side. A corn kernel will vacuum into each one of those holes, and it spins around and then drops out, spins this way and drops out down into the seed tube. So we've got different plates we can put in. We've got bean plates that have a lot more cells in them for higher populations. They make ones for like kidney beans or something that are a lower population. And then our cover just snaps on, and our vacuum hose clips on this side, and they just drop down over dogs and we put them in. So we're going to do that to these 4 units on this side quickly. And then we got to pour our sunflowers in. And this is kind of an experiment because I just went to the hardware store and picked up bird seed. So, in theory, they should grow, but I don't know what variety they are. I don't know how big they get, and I don't know how well they grow. But it's way cheaper than cover crop seed or specialty sunflower seed. And at the end of the day, the birds will eat what we don't plant. So it's not a huge waste. So I'll show you what I've got. So I just picked this up. Black oil sunflower. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's any good. I know it's vacuum sealed in here good. But that's our sunflower seed. There you can see one that's out of the hull. Oh, there it is. So we're going to put just a little bit of this in each of our row units because we're only doing a couple hundred feet. Get that. Okay, so we get that planted and we'll put our planter away. Thanks for watching, guys. It's been a pleasure teaching you about planting corn, even though we don't do much of it. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.